And a good morning, my name is Anthony Jackson and this is Newday. Time now for some news for this morning. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Electoral Commission to exhibit voters register for new regions referendum from today, October 25. Supreme Court assures parties of expeditious judgment in National Cathedral case. Violent incidents across the country claim 96 lives between January and September this year. And deadline given to telecommunication companies to plug into the common monitoring platform expires. And on the international front, suspected explosive devices sent to former U.S. President Barack Obama and ex-Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Let's start off from the Ashanti region, where a group calling itself Concerned Students of KNUST is demanding the resignation of the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Obri Danso, for independent investigations into the students' unrest. Leader of the group, Yadom Boache, says the interim management should be set up to oversee the running of the university. Here's a report by Beatrice Pio-Gabra.
The call by the group follows students' unrest on Monday, leading to the indefinite closure of the university. A peaceful march by students to protest alleged brutalities meted out on a colleague student by the private security of the KNUST turned violent. The student vandalized about 30 vehicles and destroyed several properties on campus. Students have been sent home and a dusk to dawn curfew imposed by the Ashanti Regional Security Council. But a high-powered meeting involving the Education Minister, the management and student representative of the KNUST and other government functionaries failed to proffer any solution to the violence. The concerned student of the KNUST at a press conference in Kumasi blamed the university's management for the impasse. Spokesperson Yadom Boache says the recent conversion of the two traditional male halls to mixed halls could be the remote cause of the student unrest.
The university are trying to twist this whole issues, but they've forgotten that we have a remote cause and an immediate cause. The immediate cause of the demonstration on Monday was the brutalities meted on our students, our colleague students.
They want the Vice-Chancellor, the Dean of Students, the university's relations officer and the head of security all to step aside.
There should be the formation of an interim management of the university, since those in charge now couldn't manage things well and couldn't help matters. There is the need for reforms in the policies of the university to reverse the status quo and restore the true independence of the students. The students must control their resources.
Meanwhile, students of the KNUST residing off campus have started packing home. Though they were permitted to stay in their hostels, some say their parents insist they return home till the university is reopened. A team of military and police personnel continue to pitch camp on the university campus.
Now, the Supreme Court has ordered parties in the suit against the Attorney General over the government's decision to build a national cathedral to, within 7 days, file a joint memorandum of issue. A 7-member panel presided over by Justice Julius Ansah on Wednesday noted it wants to expedite proceedings in the case.
The Apex Court noted the injunction placed on the construction of the cathedral is still in force. It assured parties in the matter of its readiness to speed up proceedings in the matter. It therefore ordered the Attorney General and the plaintiff, a former youth organizer of the Convention People's Party, James Kwabena-Bomfe, to, as a matter of urgency, file a joint memorandum of issues within a week. James Kwabena-Bomfe, in March 2017, dragged the Attorney General to the Apex Court over government's decision to build a national cathedral. According to him, government must not engage in religious affairs, and therefore its assistance to Muslim pilgrims through the Hajj Board, amongst other things, must be declared unconstitutional and illegal. In his writ, he is seeking a declaration that the decision of the government of Ghana to purposely endorse, assist, aid, partly sponsor, and or support the construction of a national cathedral near the State House of Ghana for Christian interdenominational church services amounts to an excessive entanglement of the Republic of Ghana and religion, and therefore unconstitutional. After proceedings, James Kwabena Bonfe said government must come clear on whether or not Ghana is a secular state.
The state must not seek to discriminate against any religion. The state must not seek to overly entangle itself in religious affairs, so long as we are supposed to respect equality of all religions. I think that seeking to build a so-called national church, they are an affront to the constitutional process, and I feel that the Supreme Court should be invited to make a determination on that matter.
He added all religions must be treated equal, hence it was needless for government to involve itself in religious issues.
We are very much aware of what prevails elsewhere. Unfortunately, people are quick to draw examples which are in error. There is no nation in the world that built a state or a national cathedral from state resources. No, none. The American National Cathedral wasn't built by the United States of America. It belongs to the Episcopal Church.
In March last year, President Akufo-Addo inaugurated a board of trustees for the construction of a national cathedral, which would serve as a place of worship for Ghanaians. The case has been adjourned to November 6th.
To more of our headline stories, the Electoral Commission is to commence the exhibition of the voters register today, October 25, prior to the referendum on the creation of the 6 additional regions. The chairperson of the commission, Jean Mensah, told a media briefing that week-long exhibition will take place in only 47 districts in the proposed regions to be created.
The EC is mandated by law to hold the referendum to determine whether the voters in the region to be created support the creation of the new region or not. According to the EC, the exhibition of the register would provide the opportunity for Ghanaians to safeguard the credibility of the voters register, which mostly generates controversy prior to and during elections in the country. The 2018 provisional registers and 2016 voters registers would be on display within the period for persons with or without voters' ID cards to be assisted to check their details. The exercise would include Saturdays and Sundays. Chairperson of the Commission, Jean Mensah, said persons without ID cards cannot effect any changes in their personal details.
Other lists which will be placed at the exhibition centers are as follows: the exception or exclusions list and the multiple registration lists. All prospective voters whose names, photos, and other details appear on the exceptions lists or the multiple registration lists will not have their names and photographs in the main lists.
The EC chair also indicated the Commission's district officials have been given the requisite training on the exercise, adding all logistics have also been procured and dispatched to the districts for the exercise.
The districts have also been provided with commandeered vehicles, which are mounted with public address systems to undertake publicity. Street announcers have therefore been temporarily employed for all the districts in the referendum enclaves to announce and publicize the arrangements for the exercise. Different kinds of pictorial educational posters, which depict the various elements of the processes of the exhibition exercise, have also been posted at vantage points in all the communities in the carved-out areas.
2,177,751 registered voters are expected to take part in the exercise.
Now, 96 people have died and 156 others injured in 165 violent incidents recorded between January and September this year. According to the Peace and Governance Institute, Greater Accra is the most volatile region, having recorded 53 violent incidents, followed by the Ashanti region with 23 incidents.
The Upper East region, according to the index, remains the most peaceful region with 2 incidents, with Upper West region following with 4 incidents. The major threats to peace and security within the period are violence against children, armed robbery or armed attack, murder or suicide, and disaster with fire outbreak or arson, floods, rainstorm and drought topping the list. With 36 incidents of violence against children recorded, 23 were recorded in the Greater Accra region, 5 in the Volta region and 4 in the Central region. Out of the 36 incidents, 26 were defilement cases, of which 1 was sodomy, while 2 cases involved injury on the body perpetrated by the security agencies and 1 committed by a parent. The institute identified some emerging threats to peace recorded over the period which need particular attention, including road accidents, corruption and violence against women, and recommended a closer watch over Greater Accra. It also recommended scaling up sensitization efforts with a view to reduce the trend and for the judiciary to deal decisively and expeditiously with cases of child defilement brought before them.
The president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afil Moni, has encouraged the owners of media houses to prioritize committing of resources into investigative journalism. He is confident producing more investigative journalists will expedite the transformation of the country. Afil Moni spoke on the sideline with TV3 at an event to receive 100,000 cedis support from ADB for its 23 Journalist Awards.
The Ghana Journalists Association annually recognizes its members for their contribution to nation building through effective reportage. This year's award ceremony, which is slated for Saturday, October 27, will be used to promote investigative journalism for effective national development. President of the association, Afil Moni, said committing much resource into investigative journalism is the way to build a country devoid of corruption.
Investigative journalism has done what all the anti-corruption institutions put together have not done. And the media should take their pride in playing a frontal role by using the tools of investigative journalism to fight the canker of corruption.
He wants media owners to show commitment to promote the cause. Prior to this year's event, the Agricultural Development Bank has supported with 100,000 cedis. Managing Director of ADB, Dr. John Kofi Mensah, said the donation is to foster the bond between the media and financial institutions. He said honoring hard-working journalists is a better cause.
An association that does not honor its members will not long endure. Through the contribution of the media, our democracy has become an example for the rest of Africa to emulate. Our current positive economic growth could also be attributed to the remarkable work of the media.
ADB says it will also sponsor the development programs of the Ghana Journalists Association. 2 other institutions, World Vision Ghana and Amnesty International, have also sponsored the awards. World Vision is sponsoring 3 categories, namely Best Reporter Child Protection, Best Reporter Water Sanitation and Hygiene, Best Media House Water Sanitation and Hygiene, with over 100,000 cedis. World Vision, as part of the support, would organize child protection and participation training for 30 journalists annually, while Amnesty International sponsor 1 category. National Director of World Vision, Dickens Tunde, said rewarding journalists to impact society is a laudable cause.
It should be the concern not only for the media practitioners, but all of us to support the media to build and sustain editorial integrity and provide high quality and trusted information.
The Criminal Division of the Accra High Court has adjourned a hearing of the case in which some 14 persons are standing trial for the murder of military officer Major Maxwell Adams Mahama. The 4th prosecution witness failed to appear before court, necessitating the adjournment to November 14.
The prosecution in January made the court aware of its intention to call 15 witnesses. The 4th prosecution witness was expected to take his turn to give evidence in the military officer Major Maxwell Adams Mahama's murder. However, when the case was called, Chief State Attorney Evelyn Kilson told the court they did not have a witness as planned. According to her, the witness just informed her that he had an emergency. The court, presided over by Justice Mariama Ousu, a Court of Appeal judge sitting with additional responsibility as a High Court judge, adjourned the matter to November 14 after consultation with all the parties. Major Maxwell Adams Mahama was allegedly lynched with part of his body burnt by some resident of Dencho Boase in the Upper West Dencho district of the Central Region.
Now, the 48-hour ultimatum given to telcos to plug into the common monitoring platform expired yesterday at midnight. Minister of Communications Esla Owusu hopes there will be full compliance with the directive before the expiration of the deadline yesterday.
Yet got any feedback about any reluctance to comply, but I'll find out. The 48 hours ends today. So I'll find out at the end of the day to see whether they've complied. It ends at midnight. So we'll see how things go. But I'm confident that they would work with the NCA and the GRA to make the system active and work.
Minister of Communication Esla Owusu noted the only motivation for implementing the Kelny GVG revenue assurance and monetary platform is to provide an objective means of verifying the information provided by the telecommunication companies for tax revenue purposes in accordance with the law.
We really do need to have visibility over the volumes and values of transactions on mobile money that are taking place in the country currently. The amount of monies on these platforms exceed even the amount of monies held in the banks.
She observed the Kelny GVG revenue assurance and monitoring platform would ensure the telcos do legitimate transactions.
It's a security imperative as well. You don't want people to use mobile money to finance crime, terrorism, money laundering, and drug trafficking. And if we don't police that space, they will use it for those purposes.
The implementation of the common platform is in line with the Communication Service Tax Amendment Act 2013 Act 864. Kelny GVG was contracted by the government to develop and oversee the common platform for traffic monitoring, revenue assurance and mobile money monitoring in a build, operate and transfer basis.
Let's do some international stories. Now, suspected explosive devices were sent to former U.S. President Barack Obama and ex-Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, the U.S. Secret Service has said. It comes 2 days after a bomb was found at the home of liberal philanthropist and financier George Soros in the suburb of New York City.
The devices were discovered by technicians who screened mail sent to the former U.S. officials. The Time Warner building in New York was also evacuated due to a package. CNN, which is located in the Time Warner building, evacuated its newsroom over the incident. The suspicious package was discovered in the CNN's mailroom, Brian Palman. At a news conference, Police Commissioner James O'Neill said law enforcement found an envelope containing white powder in the packaging of the device sent to CNN. The powder is being investigated, but authorities found no additional threats after sweeping the area. When asked about the pattern of these attempted attacks, James O'Neill said law enforcement is proactively contacting people to ensure other mailrooms follow proper protocol. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo confirmed during the news conference that a package containing an explosive device had also been sent to his Manhattan office, adding that it was being handled.
Well, that's our wrap-up news at 6. Newday returns shortly after the break.
Good morning. Welcome to Newday TV3 News. Today's Thursday, right?
Throwback Thursday.
Yeah, we're
throwing
back.
back. Me, I'm happy because we're getting into the weekend. If Bright was here, it would have been the weekend today for him. But Senior Bright, good morning. We know you're still doing your witch hunting activities because they've already caught you. As for the witches, they've overpowered you. That's why you're not well. But we hope to see you next
throwback,
week.
I remember this. What's your favorite throwback? Let's get to know about it on our WhatsApp line 020-21 66633, 02021 66633, and we're throwing back. So anything that comes to mind, you know, let's get to know about it. I mean, you got some very exciting photos to share. We'll be happy to have them and to share them with the rest of the world. We're throwing back.
Yeah, but Johnny, you know, just bringing up the games we used to play when we were younger, I think now the children of this day are actually losing out.
Digitized.
Because, yes, they're too over-digitized. Because I remember some games that now when I sit back and I remember, I just laugh. Like Peter Drop.
Yeah.
And you'd be singing over and over and you just be running around. And I realized, oh, they used us. But it was fun. I mean, you didn't even realize it as a child. You go home tired and you sleep well. But now they're always... Peter Drop.
I thought I'd send a letter to my lover on the way.
No.
Is that not it?
No. But everyone has, you know, there was a game called Chinese Whispers where you start saying a message. By the time it reads the last person, it's changed. So this is probably one of the Chinese.
This one
because
is,
it was Peter
Drop.
Yes, Peter send. Yes, Peter send a letter to my mother on the way I dropped. It's supposed to be I dropped it. Yes. Okay, wow. That's what I remember singing.
Okay,
so I got the wrong version. Well, that's what I grew up with.
No,
that one I don't know. but guys, that's how it's going to be on the show today.
The games used to make us communal in nature because you're always looking for somebody to play with.
Engage.
I read a biography on Justice Crab, Justice V.C.R.C. Crab by Kwesi Amoak, and it says that he loved to play Nyonchele. That's the moon. So when the moonlight comes out, they go out to play, you know, and he would go and call his friends so they all come and play. These days, if you have a video game, you're on your own. I mean, you can
Pilolo was there, Ampe,
Imohe, Zanzama. Well, Imohe is one, you know, like tag.
Okay,
yeah, that's a tag. Yeah,
I remember Pilolo gave me a scar on my forehead, so I remember because we're all racing for the same stick, and then my sister mistakenly pushed me from the back, and I screeded on the nice thing. But even though I cried, after all, I was like,
you enjoyed yourself.
My mommy was calling me back, you know, from the game, and I said, oh, let me finish.
Did you ever do Shaking Me?
No.
You don't know what Shaking Me is? Okay, wow, so you don't know.
But I hated that thing that they used to do where they you know, they'll meet you and come and do that in front.
Zanzama.
Is it called Zanzama?
No, there's Zanzama.
My brothers used to do it and it used to be annoying. You just be there and they come and, you know, do it on your knee.
Zanzama is for your head. You know, Zanzama.
If someone had done it,
somebody knocked me and I forgot everything I had learned for some time, you know. My brain restarted, you know. Anyway.
They set you to factory settings.
Of course, man.
But today will be interesting, Johnny. We'll be talking, Daily Rant will be talking about Prof. Jagede's call for examinations to be abolished. Then also we'll catch up with the NDC National Youth Organizer aspirant, Wanda Madilo. And then also Energy Bank will be talking about its listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange. We'll have the ladies here as well to talk about Pink Bubbles, which is the car wash we'll be having. Then we'll talk also, we'll have the Deputy Education Minister hopefully in studio to talk about the KNUST riots and the aftermath.
Absolutely. Let's check out the front pages now, shall we? The Business Finder is the very first one for this morning. It says fuel prices to go down due to cedi appreciation fall in the world market price. That's according to MPA. Alassane Tampani's photo there with the story. 103 firms vie for Ghana Business Awards. Well, awards here, awards there, awards everywhere. Well, who's checking the standards? That's the question. Daily Guide. Samira donates to Rich Hospital and KNUST VC must go, according to the students. Professor Bridanso is come under the radar. 40 cars vandalized in the KNUST riot, and government fights Togbe Afede over OT region. Obed OK's 8. That's it. The Daily Graphic this morning says increase doctoral level enrollment to replace aging lecturers. We are putting measures in place to safeguard gains, according to the Vice President. The Voters Register exhibition starts today. Takes place in proposed regions. Jane Mensah Adukwe is the electoral commissioner there. Maybe the Ghanaian Times. Okay, BNFT, let's do that one. GCB expands international operations, and Chinese replicas kick cane weavers out of business. Well, this is worrying indeed, if you ask me. Government to set tough rules to anchor fiscal consolidation, according to the Vice President. And last but certainly not least for this morning, the Ghanaian Times. EC begins exhibition of Voters Register. AU praises Ghana for low domestic violence cases. And Wager Dam spillage, dozens of houses submerged in flood waters, and struggling of petroleum products. 43 tankers, 1 canoe busted. NPA confiscates products. And thieves break into Daboya police station armory, make away with a cache of weapons. Wow. They got Kappa.
You know, the KNUST issue is still there. And Johnny, it's worrying because for me, I think the students hadn't been heard prior to many of these things that occurred. And so if you weren't there, you wouldn't know what had gone down. Because now when I hear the stories that are coming out of these issues, it's worrying. Why in this world would we have a university in this day and age where you would cane students? I mean, even in JHS, if I remember, there's been an issue on not being the way to punish. So why would you think that you can do it in a higher institution of learning? And then you've got people, it's okay to want to increase security in your school, but again, you need to let your security agencies know what their limits are. And so if you put, you know, for me, I think a university should not have a closing time where we're closing gates, because when someone sleeps is when someone is waking up to go and study. And this is where you are adults, and so you're treated as such. That's why no one can come to my house and come and say, even when there's a curfew, that's why there's a big issue, because you're supposed to have your independence and your freedom of moving and association, whichever way you want. And so if you tell a student that I'm locking my gate at 10 or 10:30, and if you're not there, it will be closed, or you ask that if you don't show your ID card for whatever reason, there are many other ways to go about these things. And I feel that the leadership has failed in the sense that they haven't engaged I mean, maybe they've engaged them, but they haven't listened to them enough. And that's why this has come out. Again, I would say it's not the best approach, but again, now Ghana, we seem to have to riot before whoever is listening will hear you. It's the unfortunate way we're towing. If we don't put a stop to it and correct it, this thing will cripple into our nation and it will become a big issue. So it's not the best way to have dealt with the issue, but it certainly has got traction from them. And if they don't deal with it well and they allow the school to come back without, you know, solving the nitty-gritty issues, they'll think, the students will think this is the only way our leaders can hear us, and this will become the norm of the day. And
yesterday somebody showed me if you like, a release from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Unity Hall. This is dated the 15th of September 2018. And it says, warning, the underlisted students were found to be accommodating a male student past 10 p.m. on 7 September 2018 in their room, which is against the hall and rules and regulations. And it puts their names out there of the ladies, their courses, and their room number. And it presupposes that all the 4 ladies were in one room, but they just had the males join them in the room. Then it says the underlisted male students were found in female rooms at dawn on the 8th of September 2018, which is against the hall's rules and regulations. It lists them. Then it says, taking into account the show of remorse and apology to Unity Hall management from these students and their parents, they have been cautioned and made to sign an undertaking. And I thought to myself, what manner of a university does that? The university is where a lot of people go to cut their teeth in many different things. In fact, if you go to a regular university, you find the reading rooms elsewhere, and you find where they reside, you know, at another place. Now, what if I have an exam the next day? I came back from lectures around 8 p.m. and I want to go back to the reading room after resting for a while, say 2 hours. That will be 10 p.m. I want to go and read in the reading room, because if I'm sharing a room with 3 other people, they would want to put off the light and sleep. I would want to read. So if I'm going to the reading room and the main entrance is locked, how do I go there? So I think that the high-handedness from the university authority, because now the conversation seems to have shifted from what the students were actually talking about, the brutalities, the treatment as secondary school children and all of that, is shifted now to blaming the students for the destruction of property. But then we need to go back to how it started, because I believe that, look, if after this ban, after this curfew, after this sack or shutdown, we resume and we still have these issues there, we will have an even worse situation than what we had on Tuesday. So while the ministry and the other government officials and Tumfo Asantehene, with all due respect to His Royal Majesty, are getting into the conversation, I want to plead with them to avert their mind to some of these things. That these are the root causes, if you will, of the issues.
And there have been a lot of press releases.
You don't go to a university and start caning people and start asking security men to brutalize people and start saying you will lock the door at 10 p.m. and start saying, well,
Really?
It's wrong.
It doesn't.
And it didn't need to get to this before they listened to them. So it's unfortunate, but they should deal with it well. We don't want them to resume not having dealt with the main issues on the ground. But anyway, coming to the EC and the Voters Register exhibition, which is starting today, it's interesting because, Johnny, every time, I mean, I'm worried when it's getting close to elections because we know how the electoral process goes and we know how we've talked about the continuous registration, which hasn't started yet. Well, certainly, having to open the Voters Register in, respect of creation of the new regions is going to take a toll on them. And so I'm interested in finding out what the EC's plan is concerning that open registration where constantly anyone can walk into, the EC and register or walk to an area. Decision. And exactly, but it's not being implemented. And I want that after this is dealt with, they can immediately return to doing that so that we have peaceful elections as always, because we don't want the electoral, process to be another issue that we have to handle. We really have moved too forward to come back many years again.
Absolutely, and I hope that the process is smooth, as the EC keeps telling us. So it will be in selected regions, that's it. But I'm checking out something on the page 17 of the Ghanaian Times. It's actually on the front page as well, where Wager Dam spillage as dozens of houses have been submerged in water. And look, this is a yearly occurrence, like the Bagri Dam issue. And so I'm thinking, can't we have a residual method to look at it, to try and fix the problems? Because look, we have laws in this country that says nobody must reside on the banks of a river. The laws are clear. How the local assembly grants people license or permit or authority to go and build on the banks of rivers beats my mind to start with. Then these are the same persons who will lead the affected individuals to come and cry on radio and television and say government should come to our aid because our homes are submerged. In the first place, you're not supposed to have built there. So it's an act of irresponsibility, if you ask me. But then we'll be told to put a human face to it. What more can that do apart from giving you rice, oil, chalewote, bucket, mattress, and a few apologies and photo opportunities, and then what? Your life matters to you. And you see, when I spoke with Stanley Matthew of the Ghana Water Company, I asked the question. I said, look, this is a yearly occurrence. Have we had some form of collaboration with the local authority and, if you like, the Ministry of Social Protection and all of that to make sure that people are protected? He says the conversation is ongoing. So maybe we should leave it at that. The conversation is ongoing. But people's lives are in danger. Exactly. Look, children who will go to school,
we'll have to wait
market women, and sometimes they will pay 1 cedi and 50 pesos to get somebody to carry them across. It is not nice.
It's certainly not nice, but Johnny, if we're talking about the niceties, then there's so many things that are not nice in Ghana, but we keep doing it.
It is not nice. We can't continue doing this to
I feel when it comes to that particular issue, you raised very legitimate concerns where, the same agencies would go against the law to give people grant permits to allow them to build. And so you watched on. I'm looking at a time where we start prosecuting those who actually allow those buildings to be placed there. Because now it comes back to us having to pay for government to provide relief items for these people whose houses are flooded. And it's not as if when government says, oh, let's move them out. Again, we have a housing deficit. So where are we moving them out to? So these are the realities of the ground. But until we prosecute or actually punish them, it will be perpetuated. Look, people are building in roads. I mean, in the middle of the
waterways,
people are built there. And
low-lying areas. All these places are what we keep warning people about. NADMO warns people, authorities say it, but we still will go back and you find that somebody has a permit from an assembly to build in a low-lying area.
Just because he gave a few CDs, he doled it out in a brown envelope there.
You, as a member of the assembly there, the building planning committee there, when somebody brings you that and you go and check, perhaps you don't check, but if you go and check and it's not right, why do you still go on and give somebody a permit to build?
Because you get a few coins for his family and
What kind of wickedness is that?
Exactly.
What kind of wickedness for just a weekend fufu and tolobifi, you put somebody's life in danger? What kind of wickedness is that?
But guys, it's time for us to rant. Professor Jagede has been calling for the abolition of exams when it comes to African universities. What's the way forward? Will this help solve our issue of chew, pour, pass and forget and make people ready for the job markets? Let's step out and rant with Zubaida this morning.
The Foundation Vice-Chancellor of the National Open University of Nigeria, Emeritus Professor Olugbemiro Jagide, has called for the abolition of examination in Africa's educational system. Now, according to the professor, the system affects the continent's goal of achieving quality education, suggesting that the education system in Africa must have an inbuilt way of continuous assessment of students and build up the portfolio for effective teaching and learning. Today on Daily Rounds, I have with me two senior lecturers of the Tamale Technical University, and I am seeking their thoughts on what the Vice Chancellor has called for. Welcome to Daily Rounds.
Thank you very much for having us.
So you've just heard what the educationist has said. He wants the abolition of examination in our educational system. Do you agree with it, and do you think that is the way to go for us as Africans?
Well, thank you very much for having us. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I agree with him to a very large extent, because if you look at our system of education, you would realize that just examining the students at the end of the semester makes them cram up the syllabus, and then when they write the exam, they easily forget what they have learned throughout the semester. And so I think that honestly, we may have to devise ways by actually, measuring the competence or otherwise of our students at the end of their study programs, instead of just letting them write an exam within a 2-week period, to decide whether or not, they have acquired skills and so on. So I think that I agree with the Vice Chancellor to a very large extent. But having said that, I think it is better for us to devise various ways of, assessing the competence of our students before we can actually talk of abolishing examinations. Okay. That is what we have now, and it's a standard method. Without it, it's going to be very difficult to determine whether a student has really learned and can come and fit well in the world of work. If you know about these technical universities that we now have in our country, the way they are.
Hi.
Hi.
I see trees of green, I see them blue for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed days, dark sacred nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the skies, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
That's the king of African jazz, modern jazz, if you ask me. Louis Satchmo Armstrong there with What a Wonderful World. And that's the super rightly said, it's a thankful Thursday. We got a lot to be grateful for. But very disturbing news coming from Teshi, because the gentleman says, if you want us to stop open defecation, then you need to stop producing plastic bags. This was the exact words of a gentleman out there in Teshi who was obviously livid about the Assembly's decision to end open defecation. Our reporter Gifty Ami Zioklui has more in this following report.
Comfort Ayakonote, a resident at Pipe Ekbana, says this problem has been the practice of the people for several years despite the provision of places of convenience by landlords for them.
There are toilet facilities at Aduemili, Abochi Hanya and surrounding areas, but the people still practice open defecation, saying they can't afford.
He says the health hazards associated with the menace could be dire, urging landlords to collaborate with the assembly to construct more toilet facilities.
If
the government provides toilet facilities for all homes, the problem will halt. So landlords must cooperate with the lawmakers.
Agnes Kwabi, a tenant at Teshi, who was disturbed about the problem, called for stiffer punishment to deter corporate from the action.
I go there because I don't have money sometimes, but I'm calling on all to desist from the act due to its health hazards.
A disgruntled resident, Emmanuel Anang of Ante, said open defecation cannot be halted.
People do defecate in polythene bags and dump them along the seashores. Open defecation cannot stop, since we came to meet our ancestors practicing it.
The assembly has agreed to find an amicable solution to the concerns of residents.
In a related development, the Member of Parliament for the area has organized a stakeholders meeting with the Assembly to find a lasting solution to this problem. Of course, you know that Ghana has been listed on the African map as one of the countries that has problem with open defecation, and TV3 were committed to this fight to get to put an end to open defecation. Take another look at the story by Gifty Amizioklui.
The residents took the decision to resist using the toilet facility after accusing the assembly of causing their arrest on October 5. The police and the task force embarked on a dawn swoop to arrest recalcitrant residents who openly engaged in open defecation at the beach. However, the arrest angered the Member of Parliament Dr. Okoboy, who directed for their release, claiming he was not informed. After consulting the Municipal Chief Executive for Lejokuku Krowo Municipal Assembly, a stakeholders meeting was convened with the people of Teshi to discuss open defecation. During the meeting, the Member of Parliament for the area cited reports from the residents on the lack of adequate toilet facilities and inadequate resources to pay for its use. He noted emphatically that failure to comply with directives after providing them with adequate toilet facilities will lead to stiffer punishments.
When we have done our part, which is to provide adequate facilities, have adequately engaged the community, and we have people who still say that that is where we'll go. For that, we'll let the law bite. But you see, when the law starts biting at that time, because of all these provisions engagements, those who will be arrested will be in the minority. And most importantly, you will get community support to punish them.
The Municipal Chief Executive of the area, Elizabeth Na Ajele Chumdramena, assured to get enough toilet facilities to address grievances of the community.
I've heard from the citizens that unless we construct more of the toilets for them, so very soon, I think we'll have to take it up and then construct more of the toilets, especially at the beaches for them.
The Teshi District Commander of Police, Superintendent Peter Yambila, pledged commitment to support the Assembly in the fight against open defecation.
We are still going to fight because the President said by 2020, Accra should be the cleanest in Africa. So we are going to see, we are going to fight in conjunction with the EPA so that Techi, being part of Accra, will also be one of the cleanest cities that we can find.
The public health engineer for Lek Mayao, Eduse Boateng, underscored the need to educate residents against open defecation.
We will continue to do our work, but as discussions have gone on, we will interact more with the people, and then we'll ensure that they get enough household toilets, and also our public places, we will site public toilets for them. So we will curb this menace.
Apologies if I'm ruining your breakfast, but these are the very real issues. The president has told us that in 4 years, Accra will be the cleanest city. We're committed to it. Question is, how committed are you to it? When we return from the break, there's more here on TV3 Newday. We'll be right back. Back, and WhatsApp line is active 02021666333. That's 02021666333. Let's get to hear your thoughts and comments. But Vodafone is asking you to make a very smart choice and for your business. They say go for smart business from Vodafone and experience real flexibility, convenience, and productivity. Smart business from Vodafone allows you to create your customized data and voice plan to suit the unique requirements of your business, whether it's the airtime for your workers to make those critical calls or data packages for email and digital marketing. We've got you covered. Also, they say you can roll on your data, that unused data, to save some cash for your business and move your business into the future with Vodafone Smart Business. Call them on 0302 334 040. That's 0302 334-040, 0800 10,000, or visit www.vodafone.com.gh/business/business smart business to build your own plan. Vodafone says the future is exciting. Are you ready? Front pages, as I've introduced them to you already, but let me rehash them for the courtesies of my guests. 40 cars vandalized in KNUST riot, according to the Daily Guide. Samira donates to Ridge Hospital. KNUST VC must go, according to students. And government fires Togwea further over OT region. Obed Okazet. The Daily Graphic says increased doctoral level enrollment to replace aging lecturers. We are putting measures in place to safeguard gains, according to the Vice President. And voters register exhibition starts today. Takes place in proposed regions. There, the Business Finder says fuel prices to go down due to cedi depreciation, fall in world market prices, according to the National Petroleum Authority. And the Ghanaian Times says EC begins exhibition of voters register, and AU praises Ghana for low domestic violence cases, and Wager Dam spillage, dozens of houses submerged in floodwater, smuggling of petroleum products, 43 tankers, 1 canoe busted, NPA confiscates products. There. My guest this morning are the Member of Parliament for the Mion constituency in the Northern region, the Honourable Mohammed Abdul, what the first name? Aziz, Mohammed Aziz. Forgive me, I'm thinking so many things. Good morning.
Okay.
How you doing, Chief? Good, It's been a while.
It's been a while, yes.
Great. Abdulaziz, good morning. Yes, the name came. They came. Mohammed Abdulaziz. Thank you very much. Also, Robert Richard, I beg you, Ahiagba is a member of the MPP's communication team. Chief, good morning. Pleased to meet you.
Same here.
That's an Obama you're wearing, right? Sweet. Great. So, how's the Thursday morning going for you guys? I'll start with you, Mohammed. So far, so good for you?
Yeah, so far, so good. The week is almost ending. We have 1 day to go beyond today, Thursday. We'll be in the weekend mood. So let's see how it will go. But so far, so good.
So far, Richard?
Yeah, so far, so good. It's been a very uneventful week. Just doing what we have to do to ensure that our pledge to move Ghana to the next level is realized. And very happy about the president's health and a lot of good things that are happening in Ghana.
Okay. There are lots of stories that will draw attention. In fact, the Vice President at some point has said that government is doing everything to consolidate the gains made over the last 21 months or so. But we start off from the exhibition of the register by the Electoral Commission, some 41 districts where the new regions will be created. Of course, this is a routine thing, but I want to pick your thoughts about it. So far, the process keeps going on.
and we're getting to the final destination, achieving the president's dream of having the creation of new regions. What do you see?
I think when I say good morning to yourself, my honorable brother, and your viewers, I think it's a process that must continue. In most places, the Volta region, I know recently there has been some resistance or some questions being raised, specifically in respect of allowing the referendum to be across the region and not to the sections that are affected directly.
Okay.
But apart from that, I think the remaining 5 other areas, we haven't had much.
Okay.
Also, I think in the northern region there was some concern recently. Personally, I was in the western region during our campaign, and it seems that it was something that was being craved and is going to happen without any event. Brown Harfo is the same thing. So EC, despite what challenges that some areas may be facing, the EC has a responsibility once an election is called for them to go through the process. So I think what is being done by the EC is routine work, is what they must do to prepare. They will not go by the timetable or any court case or anything. They would have to do their job as required by them. So I think it's in order, and I pray that everything goes on smoothly and we'll be able to have the referendum.
The Daily Guide reports on page 3 that the Ministry for Regional Reorganization and Development is charging Togbe Afede for making some statements that they thought were in bad taste. Togbe Afede, for example, is reported in the Daily Guide that says last Saturday suggested that the Commission of Inquiry set up to investigate the substantial demand for new regions in the country did a shoddy work in apparent declaration of war on the creation of the Oti region. He cited disregard for petitions to extend the Commission's public hearings to other parts of the affected regions, suppression of petitions opposing the creation of new regions or inclusion in regions, and withholding the final report from the public as a breach of the 1992 Constitution. This will be your region,
right?
It seems to have been the region that has had a lot of back and forth with the creation of the Oti region.
Yes.
What do you know? What do you see? And how can we bring finality to some of these issues?
Well, it seems finality will be brought to it. The process is underway. I don't know. I think I've heard at a point some court case that is running through the system. But I think the argument of Togbe Apede, I think it's a process argument. He is seeking for an occasion where the public hearing would have been expanded across the region, which then makes the argument that we want the referendum to be across the region, not only the affected area. There's precedent that says that, you know, this kind of referendum is only held at where the people who are directly affected. So maybe this is an argument seeking a departure from what we have seen before. I think as far as rule of law is concerned, if there's any merit found in it in court, or if I don't know if the case is already in court seeking to more or less put a stop to the process until some questions here are addressed. I think the process will flow.
Togbe Afede is no mean person. I mean, he is the president of the National House of Chiefs. He is a member of the Council of State.
By extension,
exactly. Yes. So his weight and the statement he makes comes heavily, if you will, and impacts heavily on the minds of people.
Yeah.
Do you think that this was in any way delay what's happening in the processes?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily worry about delay. Whether or not it delays, the process must go on. But what I believe is that, Togbe was part of the consultations initially. His views may have been sought. We're just not aware what his contributions were during that consultation stage with Council of State. So whatever his reservations are, I would imagine that it will be addressed at a level that is not in the public domain, maybe with the minister in charge, so that they would go through them in a way that helps the process, not rather stampede the process. But to be or not to be, in the end, I think the referendum will decide. That's democracy. So the people who supposedly want the region would have a chance to vote. Now, if it was cast region-wide, that is also one thing. But if it's going to be done in that area, at the end of the day, we're in a democracy. The views of the majority wins the day. So if they go ahead and vote, and in the end, we have a majority seeking for the region to be created, I don't think there's anything that can stop it.
Richard, I thank you. Mo, stepping for me now. These are the issues that are coming up, but the process is, progressing steadily. Today there will be exhibition. I'm sure somewhere around the north as well would have the exhibition going. What have you been hearing from on the ground? I know you are constantly in touch with your people on the ground. You go visiting them. What have you been hearing?
It's good morning to you, good morning to my colleague, and good morning to our viewers, especially my constituents back at Myeong. The issue of the creation of the new regions, like indicated, falls under the purview of the Ministry of Regional Reorganization.
Right.
I'm aware that the bill has been sent to Parliament.
Okay.
Some work has been done on it by the ministry. The creation of the new regions and also making the position of the DCs, MMDCs elected are some of the very serious issues that the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development is dealing with. So far with the process, I think that the government is on track in respect of the process to the creation of the new regions. Of course, like you indicated, some people have been to court to challenge some aspects of the process.
Right.
Some interpretation that they are requiring from the Supreme Court in respect to what constitutes an affected area. Some have argued that the affected area does not only include the proposed new region, but also the entire region.
Okay.
That's a matter that the court would pronounce on. The president somewhere last week was heard making some comments about what the law means, and I thought that was unfortunate because as a president and a lawyer president, I thought he should have known much better that when a matter is before a court, especially the Supreme Court for interpretation, it is only proper and fair that you don't make comments on the substantive matter. That I found very, very, very wrong on the part of His Excellency the President. One other issue that people have raised about this matter has to do with trying to create new regions based on ethnic lines. That is not a good thing for our country.
Is that the situation?
If you look at what's happening, for instance, in the northern region, where they are seeking to create a region for the Mamprugu land, and seeking to get the Dagbon traditional area, seat Cherepuni to the Mamprugu land, is something that has engaged the minds and attention of a lot of people.
Is it a mere coincidence?
Maybe yes, maybe no. But I'm saying that we should be careful with the way we proceed about some of these things, because there are some chieftaincy, religious and cultural issues that we must be sensitive to. I am not advocating or against the creation of the new regions. I am only saying that we should not be seen taking steps and measures that could compromise the unity of this country in the future. It is one thing pledging to create a new region. Even if you refer to the MPP manifesto, they had only pledged to create a region in the western region. Now they have extended that to the northern region, they have extended that to the Volta region and also the Brown Afu region. The question that I keep on asking myself is, what is the purpose of what they want to do? For every project of this sort, you definitely would have something that you want to cure, a mischief that you want to cure. Are they trying to enhance or facilitate development, or they want to bring administration closer to the people? I have constantly argued that if you want to facilitate development within some geographical area, what you do is not to create regions, because per the 1992 Constitution, the regional coordinating councils only coordinate administrative functions of the assemblies, and so you can't convince me that you are creating regions to facilitate the rapid development of the area.
But John Mahama in his 2016 campaign also mentioned the creation of new regions.
That is a very interesting angle of the whole debate. I would want to go beyond the partisan approach to it. I'd want to go beyond whether the NDC or the MPP promised that. We are now at a crossroad where the MPP government wants to implement it, let us interrogate it, even if the NDC had won.
Is it not too late in the day when consultations have been done,
the
referendum is just at hand?
We can still engage in a national conversation. I can't see the process being halted at this moment. I can see the process continuing. But I'm saying that let us raise the critical questions.
Okay.
Like I was indicating, what is the purpose of the creation of the new regions? Per the 1992 Constitution, all that the regional coordinating councils do is to coordinate the administrative functions of the assemblies. The regional coordinating councils have nothing to do with development. And look, if you want to argue from the point of bringing administration closer to the people, if the president can administer Tatale, Cherpuni, and Saboba from Accra, how can you convince me that a northern regional minister in Tamale cannot effectively administer them? What I think we should do is to create more assemblies, is to mobilize more revenue for development, and to expand infrastructure. If you have good roads, it will not take you more than 2 hours to travel from Tamale to either Cherpuni or Tatale or Zabzugu in the northern region. It wouldn't take you more than 2 hours. So what we need to do is to expand infrastructure. If indeed our intention and the purpose is to facilitate more development, we should be creating more assemblies. Because when you create more assemblies, what happens is that they become entitled to statutory funds, like the common funds and other
new ones were created in Accra.
Exactly, and most of them were concentrated.
They get late deliveries of their monies. For example, MP's common fund as well.
So tell me how the creation of new regions would cure that.
No, you tell me.
In fact, those regions would also come with administrative expenses that we must be mindful of. You see, what I'm saying is that the last assemblies that were actually created, majority of them were within the Ashanti and the eastern regions. The question that I also asked myself, and I want us to engage in some national discourse, why are we creating regions in northern, we want to carve a new region from the existing northern region, same in the Volta region, Bron Ahafo, and western region. What is the basis? What are we using as benchmarks? Population or land size? If we were to use population or land size, why are we not making an attempt to divide the Ashanti region? Because as per my understanding, it is the second largest region in terms of population after Greater Accra. Why are we not dividing the Ashanti region? Why are we not doing same in the eastern region? Those are questions, I don't have answers to them. I'm just posing those questions so that we'll begin to interrogate the motive behind the creation of these regions. The speed and the alacrity with which government is moving with the creation of the new regions, I wish they had attached same alacrity to the 1D1F, the 1 million per constituency, the construction of the dams. I wish they could attach same seriousness to these pledges that
You've made a few questions. Let me ask Richard. Richard, if you have responses to them quickly, then we'll move on to another issue.
You know, it's one of the challenges we face today in Ghana is the NDC's lack of answers, but are insistently just talking about things that they don't have answers to. But they have posed the same in their own manifesto, that when they win, they were going to create regions. So it's very simplistic to come and sit on air, unless he's willing to tell us that he disagrees with his party's position on creating the region. You understand? So let's not be disingenuous in talking about these issues that are very important. Now, all of us understand that this is not the government imposition on the people. The people wanted it. The people in the OT, they want the region to be created. I told you about Western region. When I went there, you know, in having comments amongst constituency executives and the rest, this is what they are looking forward to. In Bron Ahafo, they are looking forward to it. You understand? And if you're a government and you are supposed to be serving the people, and the people want something, and it is such that this has been consistently, I have spoken to people in his party, I won't mention names, at a very high level, where we appear on programs like this. They're just unwilling to admit that on air because they feel their opposition to it will cost them, especially in Volta region.
Cost them what?
Cost them vote, especially in the Volta region.
So is the MPP doing this because of votes?
No. What I'm saying is that the NDC in the region is being hypocritical
They want this. So my brother sitting here acting as though they are just passive, engaging the process passively, and the MPP is doing something they are opposed to, is hypocritical. Well, they want the same thing. They promised the same thing to the people. If they had won, he should tell us. If they had won their manifesto, would they fulfill that or not? That's a question we should ask him, because it's in their manifesto.
Well, I'm sure he's noted, but the question he was asking...
Yes.
The question he was asking regarding what you just mentioned about the Volta region in terms of losing votes, he was also asking a question about the Ashanti region and the Eastern region, why it's not being divided.
But I was telling you...
He was asking a question whether it's the land size or the population.
But Hughes, this is also a very simplistic question.
Right.
You shouldn't do that. He knows better. Look,
he does?
Yes, okay. But why didn't he say we should divide the Greater Accra? Because he said Greater Accra is the largest in terms of population, right? Why didn't he ask for Greater Accra to be divided? But you see, the truth of the matter is this. Okay. The request for regional, splits,
demarcation,
were the requests emanating from the people. It is not government imposing, it's like, oh, let's go and divide this place. It's the people who wants the thing. In the Volta region, if you go right now, go to the OT areas, if you just do a text or a phone in right now and see how many people will call in support of that. It doesn't mean that in a democracy we are going to have absolute support for anything, but the vast majority wants it, and they want it now. In fact, in today's paper, Dr. Obeda Samoa wants the same thing.
Right.
You understand? So when you come and sit on air and try to gain political advantage for things that we are doing for national interest, for the interest of the people. Look, if you ask me, the argument is like, okay, regional coordinating councils don't create anything. Okay, they are not revenue generating outfit. I agree. If you ask me, I want Ghana to be one region. You understand? You can still do that. But when that request is something that the people want, and the government is living to the expectation. He was talking now about one district, one dam. Who wants it?
So there's
one village, one dam, one district, one factory. Who wants it? The people.
There's a very popular quote that says that a good leader takes the people where they want to go, but a great leader takes the people where they ought to go.
Okay.
My question emanating from that is, you say the people want this. Is this creation of new regions going to really scratch the people where they itch in terms of solving their problems of access to water, electricity, education, health? Is it going to solve the problem as we have it? And I'm asking this question on the back of the fact that, look, MPs Common Fund delay for both NDC and MPP. District Assemblies Common Fund delays for both NDC and MPP. It doesn't matter where you live. Right. There's always a certain lax delay in the provision of these things that must help the people. So will the creation of new districts, new regions, I beg your pardon, solve these problems? I want to know.
Well, whether or not they will solve it, that's not for us to determine right here. But I believe
something must have gone into the thinking to create a whole ministry.
To
create a whole ministry.
Well, here's let's not deviate.
Richard, we're not deviating. I'm asking a question.
Yes.
I'm saying that something must have gone into the thinking to have a whole ministry with a minister and deputy for the regions to be redemarcated.
Correct.
And I'm asking, will this solve the problem of the people? Yes, the people may have clamored for it. But if you are a mother and your child is asking for sugar and toffees every day or every morning, and you know that it's not good, would you still give because your child is asking for it? That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah.
Will it solve the problem?
Yes, I think it will. The same question he asked, we can ask, what went into what thinking went into the creation of Upper West and Upper East? You understand? We can ask the question today, have the creation of those two regions given the people what we thought we were going to give them? That is up for debate. But the question that we need to focus on, the reason why you're asking this question, because of his presentation, which seek to create the impression that this government... It was
not because of his presentation.
Okay, well...
I'm asking questions.
Okay.
I have a mind of my own.
No, okay.
Right.
Okay. So here, no, it's okay. Right. The point I'm trying to make is that there is an impression being created that this government is creating the regions because it wants to create it.
Right.
That is false. These regional creations are issues emanating from requests from the people. And I'm trying to make you make the point. So for him to commit that their own manifesto in 2016
I asked him that.
Yeah, but he has not admitted to it. He said to put that aside. I want him to understand, because so that our viewers will understand that they wanted to do the same thing. So if they had won the election, would they do it or not? If they would do it, then what is the issue?
What's the issue?
So we now have to just engage the process as a people to do it, because all of us want to do it. You understand? So what we are doing now is not a request or a thing that MPP wants to do.
My question, Richard, is still not answered.
No, wait.
Will it solve the problem? We need to move on to another issue.
Of course.
We'll get a rebuttal, but I'm questioning, will it solve the problem?
What problem are you referring to?
I'm talking about access, I'm talking about education, I'm talking about good roads, I'm talking about health, I'm talking about food production, I'm talking about all the issues that come daily onto our tables. Will the creation of new regions solve the problem?
That is an ongoing question, because we created Upper. No, please.
We
created Upper West.
When you're laughing, it's
a serious discussion.
Please,
it's a serious discussion.
Richard, make progress.
Talk to him and not me.
No, but stop laughing.
Richard, Mo, stop. Richard, make progress.
We created Upper West.
Okay.
Can we ask the same question? Has that been resolved? We created Upper East. Has that been resolved? So we are building a nation. You cannot say that by creating that tomorrow we're going to solve a problem. It's an ongoing process. Development is a process.
Okay.
So insofar as a country we're seeking to solve our problems, creating that at least one problem we'll solve is for the people wanting to have a region of their own, thinking that maybe when that happens, they will be in a position to do things differently.
Right. Richard.
Okay. They feel that resource allocation then will be different for them. Whether or not that is true is something yet to be seen. We have precedent from Upper East and West to determine. So that question you're asking me, you could equally answer it. You can tell me that.
I don't answer questions.
No.
I only ask them.
But I'm saying, I'm saying that you have seen that.
Okay.
We created Upper West. So can you tell me?
Has Upper West and Upper East worked?
That's you're Ghanaian. I know.
I'm asking you.
But that,
has it worked?
We didn't create that, but I'm saying to you.
Yes, but you have experienced it.
But you also a Ghanaian.
Well, I don't answer questions.
I know, but I
only ask them.
But when you know something, you don't ask.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
what I'm trying to say.
Ask.
What I'm saying is that you have seen Upper West.
Has it worked?
Has it worked?
Upper West and Upper East worked?
I'll say in some ways it has.
Okay.
But the point is that it's a process.
Right.
So we cannot say that after 2 or 10 years the problems will be solved.
Right.
Otherwise, Greater Accra won't have any more problems.
Richard, I thank you very much. Mo, take a 1 minute bite on this one. We need to swap topics.
Oh, 1 minute.
Yes. No, it's okay. You had your turn. I had to ask him questions.
You see, I raised very critical questions. And when you talked about the NDC also promising same in our 2016 manifesto, it's a very genuine question.
Would you have gone ahead to create the new regions if you had won the election?
We did not win power. It raises issues of moral grounds.
Would you have gone ahead to create the regions, Mohammed?
Of course, if the NDC had won, I would not have been the president of the republic.
Okay.
This decision that would have been taken by the president if he had won. Okay. But what I'm saying is that it's a very legitimate.
You speak on behalf of the party.
I'm making a point here.
Would you hold on? Hold on. Would the NDC have gone ahead to create new regions as was promised ahead of the 2016 elections?
That I cannot speak to.
Okay.
I must admit. I say so because remember, even before Professor Mills, we had promised to do a 110 premium for the national health insurance.
Right.
When we assumed power, we realized that it wasn't feasible.
Okay.
And so it wasn't implemented. I cannot speak to whether we would have gone ahead to create those regions or not.
Okay.
But you see, whether the NDC promised that in our manifesto or not does not prevent us from raising the critical questions.
Okay.
And if you know me very well, I will not shy from stating my position on this platform. And so I'm not that type who will shy away from my conviction. We are raising critical questions. We are adamant about what you guys are doing. But as a responsible opposition party, we have every right to ask the critical questions.
You
just said that
simplistic
questions would also require a simple answer, which we haven't done. I have raised questions of what the purpose is, what the creation
is hypocritical.
Oh, you see, when you were speaking.
Oh, you interrupted me, please.
Richard is okay. You have done twice, it's okay. Thank you.
For just laughing,
Mohammed,
you did not take kindly to that.
Mohammed.
Now you think you can interrupt me. I can do that much better.
Mohammed.
Let us be decent on this program.
Mohammed.
What I'm telling you is that I have raised critical questions that you haven't been able to answer.
I answered.
Look, you see.
Let
us. I can do much worse.
Gentlemen, hold on.
I can do that.
Please.
Richard. I can do that.
Stop pointing at me. I'm just saying that
I'm saying that you've had your 10 hours quite throughout.
We will have to end the program at this point because you are not listening.
You see, Johnny,
we would have to end the program if you are not listening.
I'm not sure. I'm sure he will take a cue from.
But you also take a cue.
But you see, Johnny,
take a cue.
When he was speaking, I was quite throughout.
Yes, he will be quiet.
Even when I smiled, I smiled, he took an exception to that.
Just go ahead.
You see, I have raised questions that you have not been able to answer. That is the issue here. I've asked questions what the purpose is, what you seek to achieve. Is it to bring administration closer to the people or to facilitate a development? I've also asked questions what we are using as a basis for the creation of new regions, population or land size. I've asked questions, look, when you talk about the demand is coming from the people, was it the demand from the people that led you to the establishment of the ministry when you want power? Exactly no. And so what I'm simply saying is that let us begin to ask the critical questions. Government should speak to those questions that we have raised, and as a country we'll move forward. But to say there are very simplistic questions when you have not also provided simplistic answers
are you overly criticizing what you shouldn't be criticizing?
You see, Johnny, I have raised questions. I have not told you whether I am for or against the creation.
Where do you stand? I want to know.
Look, I have a position about the creation of the new region in the northern region.
Okay. That's
where I come from. And our position has made very clear that the Dagbon traditional area would not cede an inch of our land to facilitate the creation of the new region that they want to do in the northern region. That we have made very clear.
Why is that so? Are we afraid of change?
Not afraid of change. The Dagbon traditional area that has jurisdictions over the Cherpuni area has stated, which I endorse completely, that we will not cede an inch of our land, I mean the Dagbon traditional area, to facilitate the creation of a press conference was
recipe for disaster.
That's why we must be careful with the way we go about it. We have raised questions of not taking an action that could polarize this country in the future. In fact, I am much interested in the unity of this country than the political interest of the NDC. That I cannot compromise.
Okay.
And so when we raise questions of this nature, it behoves on government and spokesperson for government, and for that matter, party communicators of the NPP to answer them. Period.
Okay, thank you. Let's make progress. 020-21-66633. That's our WhatsApp line. We're also on Twitter at hashtag TV3 Newday. You can always join us with your thoughts and comments, and we'll read them. But fuel prices to go down. That's what the Business Finder says. And due to CD depreciation, fall in world market prices, according to the NPA. Now, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, says prices of petroleum products are likely to be reduced in the next pricing window as a result of the appreciation of the Ghana CD against the US dollar and decrease in the price of petroleum products on the world market. The authority says, in line with the deregulation policy, these positive developments will be passed on to the public through pump prices. Chief Executive Officer of the NP, Alassane Tampili, announced this yesterday at an industry stakeholders engagement seminar. This is good news, isn't it, Richard?
Very good news. Very, very good
but
news.
It says it is likely, so it's pitch and toss probability.
Well, likely because we live in a deregularized environment, so therefore prices are supposed to be responsive to the market. So that for me is the basis from where he's making his point.
Okay.
Now, but then let me say something whilst I gauge that topic, is that there's something revealing that we saw today, that it is possible for a political party to make a definite promise in its manifesto and then be unwilling to implement it. That is confirmed here on the platform. That in the past, the NDC made a promise to do something, and when they got into power, they decided they couldn't do it.
What was that promise?
Well, he talked about the insurance premium or something he mentioned.
Right.
Now, these are the same people
Your
today.
interpretation is so narrow.
One term NHS. Hold on, Mo.
You understand? These are the same people today standing on the fringes without supplying any concrete alternative, saying that, oh, you said you were going to do one district, one factory. You said you are going to do one village, one dam. In fact, a former president who made that promise in his manifesto which he campaigned on, is running around in the northern region saying...
One village?
Saying, I didn't say that. You see,
we never did.
Okay,
so
I
didn't say that, did I?
Richard, hold on.
So what I am saying is that
you're using up your time for
yes, I engage because this is very important.
But how about the critical question?
But you see, I am here to represent my party.
Well,
if there is something that is
Subject
important to clear,
you don't raise new issues.
No, this is not new issue. This is emanating from the issue we're discussing.
Well, but you see, the point is that
I should represent my party.
But
you agree?
You have said your point.
Can't even into the MPP headquarters.
Hold on, please.
You understand?
Allow him.
Okay.
Can you speak to the fuel issue?
No, I'll speak to that. But I'm here to represent my party. If there is something important that affects my party's interest, I cannot be seen not to be doing it.
Do that at your party headquarters and not
so here is an issue. We have President Mahama running around saying he hasn't seen any dam. But he, in his party's manifesto, made a promise, and it is possible they are not going to fulfill that promise. But then he's running around trying to referee and said somebody promised and they do it.
Your time is up. You didn't speak to the fuel. Your time is up. Mo.
But it's not fair. You didn't even let me laugh.
No, but I told you when you started.
We come here to represent our party. Allow us to have a conversation.
We also have a TV station to run.
Very well.
Okay. So Mo, this is your 1 minute on the fuel prices likely to go up. Take a bite on it and let's go. It's Alas Antapoli says the city is appreciating, and so at the next window of pricing we'll have.
Let us see whether his prediction will come to pass. But remember that before President Mahama and the NDC left office in January 2017, a gallon of fuel was going for 16 Ghana cedis. Today, as we speak, a gallon of fuel is around 25 Ghana cedis. It is partly responsible for the hardships that Ghanaians are going through today. We were told that President Mahama and the NDC were incompetent and that they could not manage the economy well. That resulted in the hardship that we had around those times. I don't know what accounts for the hardship that we are going through today. Now, there are three factors that will determine the price of fuel at the pump. We are talking about the exchange rate of the cedi and the dollar. We are talking about the world cruise price of crude, and we're also talking about the level of taxes and levies imposed at the pumps. Government wants to tell us that they have no hands in pricing fuel. Government has every responsibility to ensure stability of the city. If you fail to manage the economy and the dollar is rising, that leads to the increment in fuel prices. You cannot exonerate yourself.
Does government control world market prices? No.
They don't, but I've told you of three variables. Okay. World price of crude, cedi-dollar relationship, and taxation. Government has no control over crude, but has every control over cedi-dollar relationship and also the taxes imposed on fuel. Okay. All that I'm saying is that before we left office, a gallon of fuel, which was going for 16 Ghana cedis, is today going for 25 Ghana cedis under the government of President Akufo-Addo. We are being told by the transport union, this morning I listened to a news item, they are threatening again to increase transport fares by some 30%. Remember, the telcos have also indicated that
police said the prices will go down.
That's why I'm saying that let's see whether it will come into fruition.
Okay.
He's only making a prediction, and I'm saying that when prices go up, and they want to exonerate themselves from responsibility. And when prices are likely to come down and they want to claim responsibility, we would hold them to the same standards. And so what I'm saying is that the hard time that we are going today is as a result of the incompetent management of the national economy by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia.
I knew you wanted to go there. Thank you very much.
Which is true.
Mohammed Abdulaziz, MP for me, I'm grateful. Richard Ahiagba, pleased to have met you. And you still insist that the one time health insurance premium was a failure on the part of
No, I wasn't even saying it was a failure. He was telling us that they decided, a definite promise, but they saw realities and decided not to do it. So I'm saying the same measure should be applied. When the president, please, come on.
He kept quiet.
So you have seen,
Mohammed, he kept quiet.
You understand?
No, he kept quiet.
You understand? So if the former president can be going around and saying,
one D1F, you can't do one down one play.
Welcome back. Let's now have a conversation with the NDC's National Youth Organizer, Hopeful,
Wanda Madilo has been a former Nooks president, and many have tipped him to win the slot. I will tease his mind. Wanda, good morning. Thank you very much for your time. You look very great.
Yeah, by the grace of God, always try to look good.
This is presidential.
Presidential? Well, maybe Nooks presidential.
I see. Wanda, how's the campaign going?
Very good. Despite the hitch of disqualification and losing over 14 days to come back, it's been tiring, but I've always trusted God on these journeys, and I know that God is up to something. Are
you a litigant because you took on your national party and you were asking them to revert their position? Are you a litigant?
I'm just a fighter. I just believe that the right thing must be done, and it must be done in the interest of the larger public. I felt that the decision that was taken by the vetting committee was at variance with commitment to party, variance with the party's own constitution, and it was also at variance with the kind of agenda we want to run for this party. I didn't go to Ketu South to go and work on my own. I'm not interested in going to do anything over there. But I was sent on a project to go and work for the elections, and so to go there and then I'm punished for going to work for my party, I think that was unfair. And I felt that if I'm promising youth organizers that I want to fight for them, I want to be there in the trenches with them, and I have an issue and I can't fight it, then what kind of a leader are you? You are a leader by your words and also by your actions and by the examples you set. So I decided to take that on, not to be a litigant, but to take it on and get the right things done and done properly.
You're fighting for autonomy of the youth wing of your party. Is that realistic? Is that feasible?
Very realistic. I mean, we have sister parties. For instance, you look at the ANC in South Africa, you look at the Socialist International, and you look at many other groupings, even the Democrats in the US. You can see perfectly that the NDC constitution as it is today does not allow the youth organizer to function and to be able to run its programs and get results. So we're not saying that we want to be independent. We're only saying that instead of reporting to one man called the organizer, we want to report to a larger body. I think that is a welcome news, where people can make input into the document, because I have seen in the past where youth organizer is running a program and you talk to colleague national executive and they are not aware. It's probably because that did not come up at an executive meeting for discussion and for input. So if we now are asking that we want to respond to report to the executive core, which is either FEC or NEC, there will be proper input, and then we will know the issues. This time it's not going to be one man, varied opinion and all that. And there are people who are in other positions that actually do have some knowledge in the youth front, and so can make proper input, and then implementation becomes easy.
How does that sit with the electorate, those who have been crisscrossing?
I think they have been largely asking for that, and this message was born out of my interaction with them when I go to their homes and I visit them and I talk to them, and I say, some of them tell me that, Wanda, can you imagine I draw a program and my organizer is saying because you didn't come to me so I won't approve of it and all that. I think that is an affront to our democracy, it's an affront to good work and liberality. It's also an affront to operational effectiveness.
Free life insurance is one of the things you're promising the people. Some say it's too ambitious, it's not realistic, and you're just blowing hot air.
Allow them to keep saying it's not realistic. Every journey, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. What are we giving these youth organizers? They are not paid. You see, the irony of it is that people assume that all politicians are corrupt, and then all politicians are not what they are. But the truth of the matter is that the environment we create for ourselves lends credence to some of these corrupt activities. For instance, a youth organizer is not paid. Nobody pays him. He takes his money, buys form, goes to contest an election. That's what he has to do, and then he wins the election.
What's the motivation that if you are not paid? Why do you
that is why we should be having this conversation, because he's not being paid, yet he has the zeal to work. What does he get in return? The party tried to have what we call the Heroes Fund. But the Heroes Fund, how many people, really benefited from the Heroes Fund? And I am saying that, look, we have moved from days where you are not being paid and there's no benefit for you also. I've seen youth organizers who fell ill and nobody came to their aid. I've seen youth organizers who lost, livelihoods, their parents, lost their children, lost their wives, and nobody came to their aid. And we're only saying that let's do a micro insurance policy for them, so that at least the little that they can get from those insurance policies, they should be able to benefit from it. Why? The party collect dues, and every now and then. Why can't you use this to fund the livelihoods and then the safety of these people within your fold? That way they are comfortable, that way they can work better, that way they can go about their business, and knowing that when something happens, I can get, something to fall on.
I've visited people in the hospital, all in the name of campaigning. Some have had accidents and broke their legs. As we speak, the deputy youth organizer for Ododo is in the hospital. Wow. And we need to go and visit him. And a lot of this is out of somebody's stipends and all that. I don't think that our youth organizers deserve. I
was at the Honorable Julius Deborah's Mother's Funeral, was it? And I saw that you were able to rally all the youth organizers to come there. How did you pull that magic out? I'm interested.
Well, Wanda has always been the people's person. I've always been the grassroots person.
What did you tell them to move them all through the place? I'm curious.
First of all, leadership you need to inspire, and I inspire a lot of the people who come around me. I can tell you for a fact, since I've been campaigning, I've not collected any dime from anybody to campaign. It has been from friends and myself. Okay. And we've been doing this beautifully to the amazement of many. Because we are committed to a process and to a cause. Not for the gains that we'll get. If I really, really want to make gains, when we're in power, I should have contested. Perhaps win the election, and then I can make the money I want to make, by getting some deals here and there, if it's possible. But I am doing this right from opposition to prove to them that my commitment to this party, my commitment to the job, my commitment to getting the NDC back to power is not tied to any events. It's rather tied to our passion and our drive to see them.
What is your position, if you like? What are your chances? There are 3 of you in this race, correct? What are your chances?
I have a very great chance. Why do I have a great chance? I come to this table with a lot of integrity that you can't doubt. You cannot mention Wanda Manilo's name and just rubbish it by any stretch of allegation. That is not possible. I also know for a fact that I am one of those people that have dedicated himself or myself to the party from the days of old. From 2000, I have been in the trenches with this party. In the year 2012, I have been to every corner of this party. I've worked with Elvis Frianka, I've worked with Haruna Idusu from the trenches, and we've gone to remotest places where there are no networks, where there are no toilets, where we share toilets with everybody else, or where there are no sleeping places. They have been to places where we have to sleep in the car and all that. My motivation is that there are people out there who vote for the NDC, who we should find a way to recognize, who we should find a way to support, who we should find a way to bring up on level terms with all of us. And so for me, my motivation is not tied to any of the monetary gains and all. I'm not looking for this to become a minister. I want to be a youth organizer for the 4 years tenure that
your record to have supported JM, is that not too dangerous, given that if JM doesn't win the election, Professor Joshua Alabi does?
What you're saying is you just give an assumption. What if he doesn't win? He will win anyway. I also believe you win. You think he may not win. I believe.
No. I'm asking. I say, what if? I'm asking questions.
Well, life
win or lose.
So life will go on.
But why do you support JM?
Well, I support him because I believe that he has something to offer Ghanaians. One, he has been there for 4 years, and I think that he deserves a second term so we can cement a lot of things, especially because of the failures of the MPP and the many projects that the man started that are still on the trenches. I believe that giving it to somebody else may cause a disaster. Let's allow him to come in and then do what is necessary. For me, I think that I'm off.
Wanda Madilo, thank you very much. I wish you all the best. The election is this Saturday, right?
Yeah,
okay, so look into the camera. Your delegates, I'm sure they're watching. I'll give you 30 seconds.
My youth organizers across the country, my team president, my deputy youth organizers, my other youth and all that. I want to tell you that we have been to these trenches before. We have been there for you. You have been there for us. It is time for us to show ourselves. I have suffered from the disqualification, 14 days out without campaigning. Some of you I couldn't visit. Many of you I came to your houses. Remember that we are doing this for the interest of our party. We are doing this to get back to power in 2020. And know that the failure of the MPP is sure, and they will get out of office come December 2020. Thank you very much.
Wanda Madilo is on fire, certainly, but the
Welcome back. So in this year, there's been a lot of, fear when it comes to the banking sector, but Energy Commercial Bank is still standing tall. They were giving approval by the Security and Exchange Commission to enlist, and they did that to raise 340 million in shares from the Ghanaian investing public. Well, a month down the line, they have listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and they are here to tell us more about that. I'm joined in studio by Mrs. Christiana Ola Oye. She's the MD and CEO for Energy Commercial Bank. Good morning.
Good morning.
So kudos to you, because now you are on the Ghana Stock Exchange. How does that feel?
Let me just make a little correction. We will be on the Ghana Stock Exchange in December, when we ring the bell formally on the 16th of December, I believe. And so I'm inviting everybody to join us then. But what has happened so far is that we received approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission from the Ghanaian Stock Exchange and from the Bank of Ghana to launch the initial public offer of the bank to raise 340 million towards the recapitalization of the bank to meet the minimum requirement of 400 million Ghana cedis.
Very well, but you know, oftentimes when people mention the amount they plan to get from their IPOs, it's not exactly realized. But you are saying you're trying to do this to make sure that you meet the minimal, capital requirement. Are you sure? Are you hopeful that this is going to be achieved in this short time?
We do believe that it will be achieved. In fact, we do believe that it will be oversubscribed. In the 7 years of operations of Energy Commercial Bank in Ghana, one of the ambitions of the board has been that after this foundation stage, that the bank will be placed in a position to offer its shares to the Ghanaian public. When we're talking about the Ghanaian public, we're talking about individuals as well as institutions as well. So we do believe that from the institutional investors, from the retail market, and also from outside of Ghana, because we do have interest from the UK, from the US, from the UAE as well. We do believe that, yes, we will realize more than the 340 million that we are offering for sale.
Very well. So at least that gives assurance to your public that at least you still be around for the long haul. But what's your general take on this banking industry and how it seems to put fear in people when now many people are actually engaging the non-banking sector and are keeping their monies in their homes?
I've been asked this question a couple of times, and the first thing I want to say is I commend and I salute the regulators, the Bank of Ghana, for the changes that they have put in place in the banking sector. And all these changes are geared towards one thing, that is ensuring safety of depositors' funds. And if the regulator is going all out to ensure that depositors' funds are safe, I wonder why there is a fear in the industry. I urge everyone, please do not be afraid of what's happening in the industry. It's all meant to regulate the industry, it's meant to sanitize the industry, it's meant to strengthen the banks, it's meant to enable the banks do what it is banks are meant to do, and that is to support the economy and to help people grow their businesses, grow their wealth, maximize every opportunity that comes to them. So the banks are still the safest place with which to do business.
Very well. So what does the official launch of the initial public offer mean to me as a citizen?
What it means is that on the 2nd of October, we launched the IPO, and from that day, the shares of the bank were available for sale. We're offering slightly over 261 million shares at a price of 1 Ghana cedi 30 peso per share. And the initial investment that anyone can make is 100 shares, which is the equivalent of 130 Ghana cedis. Thereafter, you can buy in multiples of 10. So for anybody, individual, institution, buying for yourself, buying for your husband, your wife, your children, your grandchildren, you can actually walk into any of the 5 receiving banks, any of the 20 receiving agents, fill an application form to buy the shares, pay your money by cash, by transfer, by mobile money, and then receive an acknowledgement. And that way you are become a shareholder in Energy Commercial Bank.
Very well. So is it only people who are, banking with your bank that are allowed to buy shares when it's offered?
Absolutely not. It's the entire public, the Ghanaian public. And again, we also have people in the diaspora. We have Ghanaians in the diaspora. We have Nigerians, both here and in the diaspora as well. We have people from all over the world who have shown an interest. And anyone is allowed to buy, to invest in Energy Commercial Bank.
Very well. So what should we see from Energy Commercial Bank in the years to come?
Oh, well, as I said, we've been here 7 years. And come January 1, 2019, we will be one of the banks that remains. The past 7 years have been a foundation for us in the bank, and the next 5 years, 10 years are the period of growth. And when we say growth, is because with a capital of 400 million, we are able to do businesses that we could not handle before. We are able to support the growth in the economy. We're able to support the agricultural sector, able to support commerce, able to support the small to medium scale enterprises to grow businesses. What does this mean? It means that we will continue to remain profitable. Now, when you buy the shares of Energy Commercial Bank, you buy for 2 purposes. One, you can buy for growth, and by growth that means the value of your share increases over the years. So when you buy at 130, in 5 years' time, who knows, it could be 5 Ghana cedis. So you automatically have gain. Again, if you hold it for investment, it means that at the end of each year, as the bank is profitable, you join, you gain rewards through the dividends that the bank pays. So for us, it's a period of growth, and we believe that we will grow conservatively at 20% per annum. So for anyone who is investing in the bank now, this is a sure investment for you.
Very well. Is there a date and a time for the official launch, or you've started?
Oh, the official launch was on the 2nd of October. It runs until the 2nd of November.
Very well.
At that point in time, then we close.
Very well. So everyone has the chance to now go buy a share until the 2nd of November. When it closes, like she said, it will accumulate. So make sure you're buying now when it's cheaper, so that when it increases in price, you will make your benefits before. Anyway, I have been speaking to Mrs. Christiana Ola Oye. She is the MD and CEO for Energy Commercial Bank, and she's calling all of us to make sure we buy shares from the RIPO that is being raised. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more here on Newday. Stay with us.
Welcome back. This Saturday, Pink Bubbles comes up on your screens. But first, let's talk to the Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Yaya Duchumu, who's joined me here. Chief, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning, my brother.
Grateful. You are an alumnus of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Yes, a very proud one.
A very proud one. The impasse there, the ministry has stepped in to have some negotiation. Where are we now in solving the problem?
First of all, let me say very good morning. To your good day. New day. New day, listeners. Indeed, it's a new day.
It is.
And the Minister for Education led a team, including the Minister designate for information to Kwame Nkrumah, University of Science and Technology. Actually, they met various stakeholders at the regional administration to apprise themselves of what has been going on and what can be done to bring life back to normalcy.
Right.
And that is what my minister has been working on. Very soon, within the next few days, he will be able to come out with a statement as to what steps the government is taking to ensure that this institution retains its academic laurels and all the accolades, and without a dent on its image by interruption of academic work for a long period of time, which actually gives you a very bad name around the world when you're talking about the reputation of the institution. So the minister is working around the clock.
Are there some initial findings that you'd want to share?
No initial findings. They of course, spoke with the VC, spoke with her. Students and everyone. I reserve the findings to come directly from the minister in the next few days.
Okay. Now, the issues surrounding the KNUST, and I want to put this to you. The students have been saying that, look, the school at some point was being run like a secondary school. They had a closing time, shut the hostels and the house of residence. Males should not be seen in the female room as of some point. In fact, this morning I read out a notice that said following students have been seen there, they've been punished, and all of the boy caned. How does that come to you as Deputy Minister for Education?
I mean, before a Deputy Minister, once upon a time I was a student leader and at KNUST, and as a result, you know where my sympathies lie. But beyond that, though, what I want to say is that students should also understand that if you are angry at your Vice-Chancellor and you are calling for him to be removed, you don't destroy the very properties and things that will make your life easier at the university after the Vice-Chancellor leaves. So you say, remove him. But you are destroying your property, so that will get a message to remove him. I think that's unacceptable, and it should be condemned in no uncertain terms, that you don't go on rampage and destroy the limited facilities that we have at our universities because you are angry at your VC. So at the end of the day, when the VC is removed, would the properties come back? No.
They say they have not been heard.
No, you've not been heard. You see, let me tell you. Probably they don't know the power that they have. When they boycott lectures and massed up on the street. The sheer numbers that we saw was a wake-up call for anybody to say, let us hear them. You don't have to go on rampage and destroy your property before you are ahead. The fact that a great institution like KNUST, with a massive number of students they have there, say we are not going to lectures, we are not happy with what our universities are doing, was enough for everybody to wake up. You don't have to destroy your property before you hear you know. I think that's unacceptable.
Could government have called the Vice Chancellor to order earlier?
I mean, when you say call to order, you are saying call to order because he's doing something wrong, right?
That's what the students are saying.
Of course, there's
wrong.
two sides to every story. And as I told you initially, my sympathies go for, because I've been a student leader before. We've done demonstrations, many demonstrations against the government, against the university, 1986 to 90, big looters. So I have sympathies. However, I don't condone destruction of school property under no circumstance. Because at the end of the day, the issue that you are talking about may be resolved. But after it is resolved, you have destroyed your property. You setting the university back many years. So what I'm saying is this. I can understand. Because I've been there before. The last thing you want is for adults in an institution not to treat you as a co-equal in terms of dialogue and communication. It makes you feel so less of yourself. And no young person growing up in this country should be treated in a way that makes him feel like he's not wise enough and not capable enough. Otherwise, we're not going to leave this country into the hands of another good generation. We need to treat them as people who have something to say, who should be heard, and who should be listened to. You see, there's a difference between hearing and listening. You know, you may hear me all right, but you probably have not.
If you are not listening to make a decision,
you are not absorbing what I'm saying. Maybe you are hearing. I'm not saying as a media person you have listening skills, but for the most part in this country, you are lucky that we hear you, but to listen to you.
That's a part of
the problem.
So Professor Kaufman has been speaking. She's been in charge of our National Science and Maths quiz. She says, well, recently our top prize winners from the National Science and Maths quiz went to Portugal to participate in an international science competition. They knew all the theories, but when it came to the practicality, they didn't know. You are on record to have said that we don't have an educational system. At least that's what the Ghana Web quotes. How do we juxtapose the two and say that, look, are we really feeding our students what they need to be fed? If they can explain all the theories of Ohm's law and what John Newton says and everything, and they don't have the practical skills.
I think to take your word in terms of feeding, that's what we want to stop. We want to help
Isaac Newton, I beg your pardon.
No, of course, he said that. Yeah, that was many centuries ago. In the 21st century, you have to help the student to discover. They will retain the knowledge for a long time. And if you look at something like teaching of mathematics, you have to start with the concrete, where they look at certain figures and begin to have a sense. This is sphere, this is circle, this is this. They touch and they feel. They walk along the circle and walk the diameter and walk the radius. So those students who are kinesthetic learners begin to understand how the whole concept is about. Then you move on to pictorial representation, where they begin to draw and see how the whole thing is like. Then from there you go to abstract. That is when, so you start with the concrete to abstract. In our type of education system, we mostly begin from the abstract. Thinking that once they get the abstract, they can understand the concrete. But if you look at the Singaporean model of teaching of mathematics, you begin with the concrete. They can touch it, they can feel it. So the actual way of getting students to understand is when you begin with the practicals, so that they understand the concept fully. They can touch it, they can feel it. Then the abstraction then follows.
Are you saying that our educational system is doing, instead of doing from the known to unknown, they are doing from the unknown to the known?
And that is why, that is exactly what the professor was saying. That they couldn't link it with the reality, right? So he was just saying they knew the unknown, but they couldn't do the known. But it should be the other way around.
These are people who have passed their exams, scored all the A's perhaps. Professor Gedege says, look, let's abolish exams. Let's do continuous assessment. Is that something you want to agree with?
No, we are not Finland yet. We are not Finland yet. And I'll tell you why we are not Finland yet. When you talk about education system that functions very well, you have an accreditation system. Here we talk about want to do school inspections that we are now working on doing
Is it working?
No, we are now working on it.
Okay.
Seriously.
But previously it didn't work?
No. High schools were literally not inspected. Now we have an agreement with Air Trust through DFID. They are giving us funding. Okay. They are training NIB inspectors. We are putting a system in place that schools can be inspected. And in fact, what we are even doing is look at a hybrid between inspection and accreditation.
Okay.
You see, when you do accreditation, there's something called a self-study. The school sits down, have committees on instruction, on assessment, on curriculum, on community outreach. Parents will be represented in the committees, and they study the school. They look at their data. They check and see, are we doing well or not doing well? Okay. What is our teaching philosophy? What is the way we are teaching the students in the classroom? Right. We want students to sit together in cooperative learning groups, or do we want the teacher to just stand and deliver, that the only sage on stage, which is direct instruction. Direct instruction can be effective, but if it lends itself to rote memorization, that tell me exactly what I told you and you are the best student in the class, that is not 21st century.
It's chew, pass and forget.
No, it's chew, pour, fail and forget, because most cases we don't even pass. So we don't glorify it, because majority of the students who chew and pour don't pass.
If we have these problems, Doc, why then would we want to do a wholesale free SHS kind of thing? You have said that we don't have an educational system.
No,
Prof said that we don't have the practicality at hand. You are now attesting to the fact that inspection, the supervision was not the best.
We are doing it.
Yes, you are doing it now, but it was not the best.
Yeah, it's not the best, but we are doing it, and you don't leave anybody out when you are doing it.
Okay.
You see, the issue is this. If I sat here and told you I have no idea, for example, when you pose these questions to me and I leave here, you feel like, this guy have no clue what is going on in 21st century. Then you can bemoan the father, why are they doing all this?
Right.
When they are not doing all that and they don't even know. At this Ministry of Education, we see clearly where we are heading, and we want to see a comprehensive review of our education.
Okay.
To make sure it's not a patchwork of arrangement, but it's a system that can stand the test of the world, of times. Because you see, if you look at how Ghana went to the PISA, the international assessment, and we stopped because we were last but one. Last but one.
That's not good.
Yeah, we stopped. No, if you are last but one, you stay there. You change your system so that you can move up. Look at what is happening in Vietnam. There's a major education revolution in a poor country like Vietnam. They are topping the charts on PISA. They are challenging the world on PISA. So Ghana is going back to PISA, and we are benchmarking it against things like setting up a national assessment. You know, in this country, the first time we know whether students are doing well or not, is at the BEC.
Right.
And even the BEC is not a criterion reference test, it's a norm reference. You can't even compare from year to year, because the students are being compared to each other. And we are saying that 90% this, 20% this, that.
That's wrong. That's
of course. So we are now looking at how we can get criterion reference data, which you can compare from year to year. So all that I'm saying is that if you look at what we have now, those who are from homes like mine have been doing very well. They've been doing very well because they get to go to private schools at the basic level. They get some good prep and practice. They do on the BEC. They go to our top performing schools. 95% of them end up in our top 55 schools, and the top 55 schools are designed for them. They do very well. The whole world hears about them, and we pay glowing tribute to the fact that our schools are doing so well. Then the poor, who went to the public school, was not prepared well, end up in our category B and C schools, perform poorly, and they are blamed for it. Say, you didn't do well in the junior high school, that's why I didn't do well in high school. Who taught them in junior high school?
There's been a concern, and by the way, PISA is a system of assessment, for foreign schools. But then one critical question that's come up, the reintroduction of technical drawing, technical skills. People are asking for us to bring it back. Is that a consideration the ministry wants to make?
Junior high schools do technical drawing.
Technical skills.
Skills.
Yes, because as a student, we used to have farms.
No, you see, the thing is this. The 21st century education environment is a very tricky one.
Okay.
Many years ago, they would say that everybody should do technical, right? Then we have come to 21st century where technical is not necessarily the easiest thing to do.
Okay.
besides the equipment and the things, you need your best and talented students to do well in technical. Okay. So when people talk about technical in this country, for the most part, they are saying secondary school is not for everyone. Those who are not doing well, let's send them to no. Because when you look at the mechatronics and all the things that they do now, the technical level, diagnostic machines that you have to use before you can fix cars, now that what we used to call fitting shops,
okay,
it's not for the faint of heart.
Right. Doc, I thank you very much for your time. We could have had some more time, but this is where time will allow us. I'm grateful.
No
Honorable Dr. Yao Duchum is the Deputy Minister for Education. This is speaking to us about the myriad of issues here on education from KNUST through to the JHS. But this is TV3 New Day, and let me say happy birthday to our own queen from before, from the Central Region, Baba Boche, GMB 2017 Central Regional Rep. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you. And also to a very good morning to you, Mumuni Yusuf, aka Carlos Sayat, Youth Ash Clothing, all the way in Bolgatanga. You say you're watching with your entire crew around the ministries. Good morning to you. Now let's turn our attention to a very important subject matter, because throughout the month of October, we've been talking and advocating and creating awareness about breast cancer, a very important issue. Here at Media General, we have a 3 Foundation that's been placing a lot of focus on critical issues as same. And this Saturday, something massive is happening with 8 of the most beautiful ladies you can find anywhere in this country. They've joined me here together with the head of corporate affairs and the boss at the 3 Foundation, Mr. Richard Anyable. Also, Nancy Vukania is the chaperone for the beautiful ladies. Ladies, welcome. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Charlie, you are feeding on GMB food proper. Richard, good morning. Good to have you. Nancy, how are you doing? Sweet to have you. You have been avoiding me, but today you are here. So, Richard, something big is happening this Saturday. What is it?
So, good morning, Johnny. Good morning to our cherished viewers. Like you rightly said, throughout the month of October, we've led this bold initiative to raise awareness about breast cancer. We are crowning it all on Saturday with what we call Pink Bubbles. Pink Bubbles is a charity car wash in aid of raising funds for a patient who desperately needs to go through breast cancer treatment. So we're doing this on Saturday with Ghana's most beautiful ladies, and a host of other celebrities, including our own on-air talent.
Absolutely. Great. So, my bad, I forgot to introduce the ladies to you. Afra, Adepa is from the Western region. That's Afra from the Ashanti region. That's Wakia from the Upper East region. That's Abena from the Eastern region. That's Na, Greater Accra region. That's Tewa from the Central region. That's Ohima from the Bonafa region. And that's Nabia, the pride of the North region. So these are ladies. Ladies, are you ready for Saturday? Yes! Okay, so the ladies are going to be washing your cars. I'm curious, do you have pre-experience in washing cars? Adepa, do you have any experience in washing?
Yes, we've been practicing for a week now, and we are very ready. Just come with your cars as we have fun and raise funds to support patients who need the breast cancer surgery. Yes.
Nancy, you've been with the ladies, throughout the contest. I mean, thus far.
Yeah.
How have they been faring in practicing washing cars and living as sisters together? What do you say?
Well, I think that in the beginning it was a bit of a challenge for those who were not used to, having to live in the same room with several other ladies. But as the time has gone on, it's become easier, and they're getting along very well. As you can see, they're quite happy with each other. I'm not saying that they don't bicker or have, the usual issues, but it's been good.
What would be your honest assessment of their week-on-week appearance on television, their rehearsals, their conceptualizing what they want to deliver on Sundays? What would you say that is?
I can personally say that there's been a lot of improvement so far. Especially for some of them. I don't want to mention their names because they may not be too comfortable with that, but it's really improved since the first week. We had the fashion show. It was heavy grueling, for that, with those who had never had catwalk lessons. But they did pull through, and it was a beautiful show. And I think that the ladies have really grown and improved and learned a lot of things and picked up a lot. So people should expect even better.
Right. In the coming weeks, what are we to expect from you? In the coming weeks, I'm asking. I'm trying to scoop.
I know. I think we can expect a better appreciation of the topics that have been lined up.
Okay.
For them to work on and to, share with the rest of the country and the rest of the world.
Okay.
We can expect that they understand more the issues and are able to expatiate more on most of the issues they're supposed to relate to us on. And we can expect better stagecraft. We can expect more confidence from the ladies. As you see, they've already grown in confidence. So we can expect better for every aspect of what they're meant to do on stage and in-house.
Okay, so let's talk about breast cancer one more time. Richard, Saturday, what's the itinerary like? What does it look like?
So, Johnny, Saturday will be the most exciting and coolest charity event that's going to happen this year. So, as you drive in, we're encouraging all our viewers, all the fans of the awesome contestants we have to come through and help this young lady we are trying to help, Mrs. Cecilia Johnson.
Okay.
So as you drive in, you'll be led through where to park your car, and then right through to the washing bay where, for a speed wash, you have 5 minutes max. You sit in the car, they do it very quickly. Of course, they're not doing this all by themselves. We have some professionals. We have professionals from IA Trent. It's a mobile car wash and detailing company. They will be there to do the hard work. The ladies would help out a lot. So they will take you through 5 minutes. We do the speed wash. If you want a more detailed job, it'll take about 20 minutes. But whilst you wait, Johnny, this is a fun part. Whilst you wait, there's a lot of music. There's a lot of refreshing drinks. There's the bites. There are games. We have a lot of celebrities passing through. You have photo moments with the ladies, with our on-air personalities like yourself, the likes of Natalie Ford, Alfredo Kansi. Basically, it's going to be an absolutely fun day.
Absolutely. Yes. Great. Let's TV3 Newday. Thank you very much. We're still hanging out with our 8 beautiful queens. So Saturday, tell me, Saturday, if I drive in with my car, what am I to expect from you?
Expect that we give you a very awesome service because we've been training for a week now and we are we are really poised to do this, so we wouldn't disappoint you at all. We'll give you a very best in our service.
Now, how much is it going to cost? Do we know? I'm curious because if I drive in on Saturday, I should know how much it's going to cost me. Unless it's for free.
Let me respond to that. So we are not charging a fee, and that's the beauty of it. We expect that once you come in, you will donate something out of your heart towards the breast cancer surgery for Mrs. Cecilia Johnson. So there's no fee.
There's no fee at all. But what time are we starting on Saturday?
So we are starting exactly 11.
11 o'clock?
Exactly 11 o'clock, and we are there till 3 p.m. So in between, we're expecting to have close to about 200 cars passing.
And you can just drive through?
Just drive through.
Yes,
like I said, it's very fast. 5 minutes, we'll do a speed wash. 20 minutes, we'll do a more detailed job. And then whilst you wait, you have some bites and drinks.
Absolutely.
And hang out with our on-air personalities. And there's a lot of music.
You want to say, they want to dance, so I'll play a song for them to dance shortly. But let's take a look at some of the messages. Of course, Tilapia's got something for us as always. He says the 89 million Kelly GVG bout round 2. And can you continue or should we throw in the towel? That's what is asking and what Franklin Kojo seems to say. But let's go on to the telephone lines now. We're told that Madam Cecilia Johnson has joined us on the telephone line. Hello, Madam. Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you very much for your time. Auntie, so, Miminda, your washikas in aid of you, how does it make you feel?
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Auntie. It is saying. Mrs. Saturday, my on about who cast who won't at all saying.
What's up, my on
and my on about who cast omede pe sika omede yen in tobuane noboa ebe boao at saying at all saying.
Hello. Well, it seems we have a very terrible line there. We'll try and raise her back maybe sometime later and have a conversation with Madam Cecilia Johnson, whose aid we're trying to raise funds using our beautiful queens at the Accra Mall this Saturday. We call it Pink Bubbles, and you've got to be there with your car. But I was telling you about this one. Let's check if we have some WhatsApp messages for the ladies. We don't have WhatsApp messages. I think the system is choked. Really, really choked. Okay, so we'll stick with the cartoon bit. Tilapia's got something for us. It says round 2 of the GVG bout. Kelny GVG on the side of the ring. What looks like a lady boxer standing akimbo, and the male boxer is on the ground. It says water, and the coach is asking, can you continue or should we throw in the towel? As the tail goes and says, well, give me water first before you start asking me questions. That's about it, and that's how the cookie crumbles. But ladies, Sunday is coming up. Ahead of after Saturday, there's Sunday. Are we ready for Sunday?
More than ready.
Charlie. Are we ready for Sunday? I'm curious. I want to know.
You're more than ready.
You're more than ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we to expect from you? Not tell me what you're doing on Sunday. I don't want to know that. Let's not give everything out. But what are we to expect from you on Sunday?
Nothing but the best.
Nothing but the best. Okay, come this way. What are we to hear from you on Sunday? Just speak up for me. The microphone will pick it. What are we to expect from you on Sunday?
As she said, nothing but the best. You're going to enjoy us. It's going to be fun. Fun.
It's going to be fun. I see. Nabi, I've never heard from you. Step forward this way and talk to me. Why are you hiding behind Tawa?
She wants to be fair.
Nabia was a warrior last Sunday. But off the screen, she looks very, cool and calm. I don't know what possesses her on Sunday, but Sunday is definitely going to be great. The fans are voting for you. You're happy about that? You're very happy about that. Okay, ladies, we'll toss it out here. Weki, I see you. I see Abdul as well. And I see him as well. I wish you all the best. And Saturday we'll be there to be washing the car. Would you wash bicycles as well?
Johnny, anything that you drive in, we wash it.
Motorbikes,
bicycles, toy cars, everything.
We wash everything, right? So just to raise funds for. So toss us a song, Baba Boche, Central Regional Rep for 2017. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday. Today it's your birthday as well. Enjoy the best of the day, top of the day to you. Mumuni Yusuf, aka Carlos, use Ash clothing in Bogatanga. Good morning to you. We're gonna dance to an old school music. Everybody dances on this set. Please get up from your seats, everybody. All right, Nancy Book.